Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, pimps and simps, welcome back to the Mac Life, the #1 podcast here in the world. We're back for episode 135. If you're new to the channel, we have absolutely everything to do with growing your brand online, monetizing that brand, marketing for Onlyfans, and management. So how to manage ladies' Onlyfans accounts and make serious amounts of money. Also, if you're new, okay, before you hit subscribe, the way in which we do this channel is in podcast style format. Me and you get a little bit of bonding time. We go over some updates going on in the Mac Life. I give you some awesome business advice, some zdarova business advice, okay? And then we get into the OnlyFans content at the end. Now, the OnlyFans content that we're getting in today is how to start an agency. Pretty much, if you're a creator or a manager, you're going to want to watch the entire video, because I'm going to break down every single step that's needed. So even if you're a creator, you're going to look at these points and you're going to think, this is what an agency needs to deliver on, okay? And it's going to save you a magnitude of time if you want to scale as a creator. And really, as a creator as well, if you're saying to yourself, look, I'm an OnlyFans creator and I don't want to work with a manager, then that's fine. But you are the manager. That means you're taking on the managerial role. So you need to understand all these processes, okay, so that you can effectively manage yourself. We have a lot to go over today. Today. Well, I'm going to put these sunnies up out of the way. Now, normally I've got the Invisalign in, but it's coffee morning. We have quite a lot to go over. I want to start off the day with today's testimonial. So I know it's early in the video, so it's easy for me to edit in. Bing! From a Hive member. Congratulations, George, on the sale. Now, even though it's only a $150 sale, this is what I talk about with premium pricing. And what a lot of people you don't understand is pricing and charging a premium is by far the most important thing. To make $150 off a single sale, showing you it can be done, why are you still charging $10 a message? Why are you still charging $20 a message, $30 a message? I'm going to explain the value in that later on, but we have a few other little updates to get into first, okay? But we are going to go over the importance of premium. But congratulations, George, on the $150 thing. Now, something that I'm also going to be adding into the Hive, I just have to come up with what it's going to be, whether it's going to be a cash reward, whether it's going to be like a gift. I have to message my lawyer as well, because I know it kind of is a sweepstakes, because people are, well, it's not really a sweepstakes. People are joining the Hive, and then this is just an extra thing that I'm giving away, or whether it's like a hamper that I send out or something. We'll consult, and you can feel free to leave suggestions down below. But at the end of each month, I will be giving something away to a Hive member each month. Now, I haven't decided the parameters, whether that's the Hive member who's earned the most, whether that's the Hive member who's clocked in the most hours, whether that's the Hive member who's put in the most communication inside of the Hive. It really depends. I'll have to have a little think about it today, but I want to be able to give back to everyone who's joined the Hive. So we'll come up with that, and feel free to leave suggestions. Maybe it's, a $500 giveaway, or maybe it's, I give you a one-on-one session if you want, and I can give you a little bit of consultation for half an hour, or interchangeably, or maybe, it's a fucking new Versace drip. Whatever it is, leave a comment down below on what you would think would be a great prize, and more so than that, what you think would be the qualifying trait for each month. So let me know. Or should there be multiple smaller prizes? Okay, let me know. Something I want to add in though. Now, that being said, today, before we get into the OnlyFans stuff, I have a really important business message I want to talk about. Now, I've understood this concept for quite a while, and it was made as a major mainstream framework for myself once hearing Alex Hormozi talk about it, probably 6 months ago now. However, I re-listened to a podcast yesterday, a recent podcast with Alex Hormozi and Ed Milet, and he talks about the importance and the 4 pillars of leverage. And I want to convey that message here to everyone today, because it's so important for OnlyFans. So we're going to look at what are the 4 ways that you can essentially provide leverage in your business. And leverage just means that the more leverage leverage is the equation of input and output. So if I put an input in, what amount of output do I get out? If I put a lot of input in, I only get a little bit of result or a little bit of output. Okay, I obviously have low leverage. If I only have to put a little bit of input in and I get a massive amount of result, okay, I obviously have a high amount of leverage. And there are different opportunity vehicles that we can leverage, and I'm going to talk about that. But yeah, let me know, okay, about the suggestions. Other than that, I want to break down these other ones before we get into the big ones, which is reaffirming premium and also talking about leverage. Top of that, I'm going out after these videos are done. I've got a few to film, get them uploaded, get them editing, and then I'll head out and I'm going to go visit my sister. She lives about an hour and a bit away, and I'm already in the middle of nowhere, and she lives in the middle of nowhere. Like, she's out in country bumpkin town. So I'll take the whip out there. I'll take the ute out. I've decided there's nothing more enjoyable, because chilling around in the sports cars is just as fun. But driving outback Australia in a fucking big truck, music blaring, big denim jacket on, big fucking money, driving out, coffee. There's just something about it. It just feels schmicko. So now, other than that, I want to tie this in, and I'll try and give today's updates, little bits, tie in with leverage. So when we get into the leverage stuff in a minute, you're like, oh yeah, I see how it all applies. Actually, I'll give you the 4 pillars of leverage right now. And then as we talk about the updates, I can kind of apply them and then fill in the gaps. I think that's probably the better way. So there's 4 ways in which you can put leverage in any business. And remember, leverage is the difference between input and output. So obviously, we want to acquire as much leverage as possible, because what would that mean? If I have the most leverage in the world, I could put in the smallest amount of input and make the biggest amount of output, and you get to decide what that is. Input might be your time, and output might be the money you make. Now, if that's the case, and that's the case for most people's businesses, wouldn't you want that? Wouldn't you want to put in the smallest amount of time and the smallest amount of effort and get the most money possible? Wouldn't that be what you'd aim to do? Okay, so there are 4 ways in which we can provide. There are four fundamental pillars of leverage in any business. I need to be more particular with my word choice. Now, the first way in which we can leverage, okay, and this is done by most businesses, most companies that and this is starting to change in the world. I've talked about this in recent podcasts, but this is the way that most people understand leverage. They think anything else, they don't really consider the others, but this is the most common leverage thing in business, and that is labor, people. Most companies, like say, for example, the big ones, here in Australia, you have all your BPs, you have Caltex, you have Bunnings. I don't know with the fuel companies. You have Woolworths, you have Kmart, you have all these big, overseas, you have Walmart, you have all these places, Starbucks, you have these giant global corporations. They make money, okay, because they leverage other people's labor to do the work for them. So the CEO of Starbucks doesn't wake up every morning and drive to every single Starbucks in the world and pour every coffee for every customer and then go and pack every bean. He couldn't. It's impossible. You know this. So what does he do? Okay, he leverages people's time. Now, this is the most important thing for leverage to make sense. For him to leverage people's time, it must be, number one, it must provide a positive ROI, okay? It means that I can put someone else in place of this instead of myself, and it makes me more money to do that. That means that his time is spent better off elsewhere. So to begin with, he may have had one coffee shop. And what he did is, after a while, he was making coffees and he realized, I should be managing this place and focusing on being a manager rather than focusing on making the coffees. So he hired someone and he put the labor in place, someone else to handle that job. And he was like, my time would be better off spent doing sales calls, trying to get the beans cheaper, trying to get this, trying to get that. So he was leveraging a higher opportunity vehicle and replacing his work with the leverage of labor. Okay, very, very important concept to understand. And then after that, he said, well, I want to open a second store and I'll go manage the second store and make the coffee beans. Okay, and I'll have someone in here. And then that way, we got 2 stores making money. It's 2 for the price of 1. So he went there and he's maybe making the coffees. I don't know. This is a made up fucking story, by the way. But he's there, working the machine, barista away. And then he's like, I've already done this before. I'll just put someone in here and I'll spend my time looking at maybe seeing if there's a profitable way to set up a third store. And this continued to happen until the point where he's like, look, now I'm managing all these people. Maybe it's more important that I put a regional manager in to manage this region and I focus on setting up this region. And all that happens is he continued to leverage labor and putting people in place until he built an empire, okay? And I hope the CEO of Starbucks is a man. I have no idea of the CEO of Starbucks. I haven't researched into the CEO of Starbucks. However, that is the leverage of labor. And innately, we all understand that. If we can leverage other people to do a job for us, you know, and I talk about this inside the Hive and I teach people it's one of the easiest ways is to start hiring freelancers, people to handle messages, people to handle all certain tasks, to take over your emails, your personal emails for you. And you can apply this in your personal life too, because people say to me when they come over and they visit me and they come to the Mac Mansion, they say, you know, why do you have a cleaner? It takes only, you know, an hour or two if you want to do all your cooking. You can bulk cook, you can do all your meals, you can do your nutrition that way. And they say, why do you, you know, just order all your meals in? Why do you go out and do this? And I say, well, for you, okay, I don't want to sound rude, but for you, if you work a 25 an hour job, we can equate your value as a worker to $25 an hour, okay? And sure, you may be working towards more, but at the moment, you're settling to take $25 an hour. You're a $25 an hour person. I look at what I turn over each year and I can break it down into what I'm worth an hour. And then I can say to myself, I can have a cleaner come in my house for $30 an hour and clean the house for 2 hours, and takes her 2 hours. She'll clean the entire Mac Mansion. That's $60. Or I could do it myself. But what am I losing? If I was to put those 2 hours into working myself, and this is important, if I don't utilize those hours, okay, it would be better to do them myself. But if I'm using those hours effectively, and I say I'm regaining 2 hours that I can put into a higher opportunity vehicle, I might say, look, me per hour, I'm actually worth $650 an hour. So it wouldn't make sense for me to spend my time cleaning the house because that's a $25 an hour or a $30 an hour job. Okay, and you can debate what things are worth, but essentially, when you can break down what you're worth, you can start to reduce and minimize all these jobs. And this is why I tell people, as soon as you start to make money, you want to leverage labor. So this is the first pillar. Like I said, today's going to be a big video on real good business shit. The first thing we can leverage is labor. So you can have people come in and cook for you, clean for you. And in business, you can have people handle emails. You can have people handle manual workload. And for some reason, no one stigmatizes against this. People understand this is how business works, and everyone attempts to leverage labor. But I would say that leveraging labor as a brick and mortar store or as any sort of thing is probably one of the hardest leverage opportunities we have. I think it's the hardest to master because you have to leverage people, and people constantly chop. People constantly change. People need different things. People need aspirations. They need motivation. You know, if you have a store, you have to keep people motivated. You have to tell them, like, they show them a career path to progress to. It is probably the hardest thing. So when I talk to people, you know, I have a lot of family members in business, and they say to me, like, you know, how is it that you make so much more money than me? And a lot of my family members say this to me, and they say, I don't want to seem rude, but like, I do all this shit and I've done business for this many years and I feel like I know more in business about you, but you make more money. And I say, you do. And I say, you have a better skill set than me. You have the ability to manage people. You have the ability to manage inventory. You have all these skill sets in place that make you a higher level entrepreneur. But all your time is spent trying to scale by leveraging people, which I feel is one of the hardest opportunity vehicles. I'm leveraging a better opportunity vehicle. Now, inherently, you should leverage all four, and you need to leverage all four to continue to grow. However, that's probably the hardest one to master. So you need to focus on the other opportunity vehicles first, I believe. And so when I chat with people, I just say, look, I've picked a better opportunity vehicle. And Alex Hormozi rehashed this quote from somewhere else, and I'm rehashing it from him. But he said it's far more important of the boat that you're in rather than how hard you row. And I really want you to think about that. If I'm in a speedboat and you're in a rowboat, it doesn't matter how fucking hard you row, I am going to whip you to the other land. I'm going to whip you there every single day of the week. Unless you're built like me and you just fucking get out and swim, just butterfly. You seen the Zohan? I'll just butterfly after the boat. Tenacity. Now, the second opportunity of leverage, and I've got them written down here because I want to try and put them in an order that is important. And I said I would tie them in with the way that I'm doing the updates is, no, it's too hard to do that because I get off tangent too much. Okay, no, this actually works. Because I'm scaling the Hive. I'm at the next stage. I'm at the end of the beginning with the Hive now. The Hive is making a great amount of money for myself. It's a business that's continuing to grow and it's moving at an expansive pace. We're continuing to provide value. And now I'm able to scale. So I have just employed someone to leverage, okay? I've employed someone to leverage two of the opportunities, essentially. They're leveraging one thing for me, but instead of me doing the work myself, okay, I'm getting someone else to do it. So I'm acting on two leverage opportunities. So how am I expanding the Hive? All of the Hive's growth has come from my YouTube channels, nothing else, just YouTube, okay? I've promoted a little bit on Instagram or whatever and just put up stories, but that might provide 5%. It's all come from YouTube. There's no paid ads. It's massive amount of profit, okay? So how am I scaling the Hive now? Well, I'm working on the second opportunity. So what I'm doing is now I'm taking all of these videos, okay? They're currently being transcribed into audio format, and then they're getting redistributed on Spotify, on Google or whatever the fuck it is, Google Podcasts or Google whatever, on Apple Music, on all these things that I don't even know, and I don't need to know about them. I don't need to, okay? I understand how they work. I have the basic idea, understand how they work, but I don't need to know. I've paid an expert to do it. So, and this really is actually 3, but I just want to keep it at 2. I'm leveraging someone else to do that opportunity for me because I could sit there and download the audio myself and look through, Google Music and Apple Music and spend time setting shit up and doing it myself. And sure, it might provide me more over time. It's still a great opportunity vehicle, but why would I do that when I could spend my time filming a new podcast or operating on some other fundamental within my business, okay? I'm leveraging people and I'm leveraging labor. But the second thing that I'm now leveraging is media. Media is one to many. So why media is so powerful is instead of me taking, private calls with people, which I don't offer anymore, one-on-one calls or anything like this, when I do that, for it to be worth my time, it has to make me more money than what a video could put out, okay? Me putting out one video as a piece of media could provide 10x that because of the amount of people it can reach. And I can calculate how many people it can reach. Now, how do I leverage media more effectively? Which is the question that I've been asking myself recently is, how can I leverage the media that I already have more effectively? And I've already had this plan for a while now, but essentially get a large amount of media and then pay someone to go ahead and redistribute it across a multitude of different platforms, which is what's happening now, the end of the beginning, stage 2 of scaling. All this work that I've put into building these podcasts was just the beginning. Now we're at the end of the beginning, and I'm taking all of this content and I'm redistributing all the work I've already put in. I've already put in all that work, and now I'm leveraging media, okay, to go and get me more result, and I'm putting in no additional work. And now I'm leveraging someone else to go ahead and do all that too. I'm putting in no more work, no more time. This video that you're watching right now, okay, for example, whether you're watching it today on the day that I'm filming it, whether you're watching it a week from now, whether you're watching it a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, I've put in the work one time, and every single new eyeball that attracts provides more leverage to me. If you're watching this and a new person watches this and 10 people watch this now, 10 people watch this later, whenever someone else watches this, okay, the leverage is stacking into my favor, into my side. So leveraging media is the second one. So in your business, you have to think, how can I leverage people? How can I leverage media? And like, for example, inside of Onlyfans, let me give you a relevant example. What are some tasks that you could leverage people to handle? Well, you could have them handle all the CSV tracking. So you could have them go through and track all your profit and loss statements and what you've spent, okay? What you've spent on ads, you can have them go ahead and do all that, and then what you've made, and they can list that all into a Google Sheets, okay? Or you can have them handle messaging, you can have them perform all these series of tasks. You can leverage media by having girls create content, you acquiring the rights to that content, and then you can redistribute that on multiple platforms again and again and again, and you can use that and sell that same piece of content that was sold to one customer for $100, you can sell that same booty hole pic to another customer for $100, okay? And every time that you leverage that exact same piece of content, the workload was put in once, but it's worth more and more and more and more, okay? Now, the third thing that we can leverage, and I want to talk about this on my website. So, for example, I'll film a new sales video and I'll put it onto my website, which is media. But then I'll go ahead and I'll run an A/B split test, or I'll set up email flows and I'll set up certain things, or I'll create a Zapier automation connection that when someone joins, it fires off here, and then it tells, Discord that we have a new customer, and it lets people in automatically. And when their subscription's gone, okay, it removes them from the group. Now, what I could do is I could sit there manually approving people. They click through, I've got to sit there and manually approve it. Or I could fuck around for 10 hours, set up a Zapier connection that does it automatically. Now, that's a one-off time commitment of 10 hours to set something up, but it provides leverage over time too, because rather than me now needing to go on and perform an hour's task each day, okay, even though it's not an hour's task, rather than going and needing to perform an hour's task each day, what's happened is I've traded a one-off thing, a one-off block of time, okay, for something that returns over and over time. So what was the third thing that I've leveraged? Software, okay? So the third thing that you can leverage inside a business, and that you must, is software. And, when I talk to my family members, I say to them, look, you're leveraging people, I'm leveraging people too, but I'm actually leveraging people more intelligently than you. You're acquiring a lot harder skill set, but I leverage people from overseas where the money and the trade in currency is worth far more to them than the people that you pay here to do these jobs. And they say, yeah, but I need people here. And I say, yeah, 100% you need people in your physical location, because I've leveraged, okay, software. More importantly than you, I've leveraged software. You need a physical location to sell, where I invested time in building websites, building apps, building data, building an online presence that has the ability, okay, to collect payments from anywhere and everywhere. And if I add in more payment gateways, I add in PayPal, I add in this, I add in that, I add in Xero to automate my bookkeeping so that I don't need a bookkeeper, and I set up all these pieces of software, okay, I'm essentially creating a very high leveraged opportunity vehicle. Then I tie that on with media for advertising. So rather than having to speak to people one-on-one to make sales, I'm leveraging one-to-many, okay, and then I'm leveraging people to handle the smaller tasks that I don't need to do. I've already mass created 3 high leverage vehicles. Now the fourth one, and this is why the rich stay rich, and you may have already guessed what it is, or you may not have, but this is why business is so hard to succeed at the start and then it becomes easier, is the ability to leverage capital, okay? Capital is essentially blocks of time that I can trade in the hopes that it brings back more blocks of time, because that's really all money is time units. And so what I can do is, if I have, say I have $100,000 sitting there to start a business and you have 0, okay? Me and you, we're going head to head. I might only have to put in 10 minutes each day because I can leverage capital, and you're going to have to work 18 hours a day, or whatever you physically can, 12 to 14 hours a day to even remotely be able to compete, and you'll still lose. Why? Because I can say to 2 people, look, I'm going to pay you $40,000 each for the year. I'll pay you up front. Okay, and you might say 40,000, that's not much, or it is much, or whatever. But I say, this is your full-time job, here's 80K. Okay, and you have a 20K marketing budget to go out and figure out the marketing and make this business work. And I dump 100K in here. Okay, I've dumped $100,000. You're now competing against $20,000 of marketing budget, which is media, which is more leverage, okay, and 2 people working full-time to your 1. Okay, so that's why capital is so powerful. And then that highlights again and again and again, because say, for example, you're trying to launch, like I said, a Starbucks company, you're trying to launch a coffee shop, you're competing against someone who has billions of dollars, tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people working for them across multiple locations. And as soon as you even start to pop up, they have enough capital that they can leverage and shut you down in multiple ways. So capital is the next way that we can provide leverage. And capital also can be used to provide leverage like exposure. Rather than, you're walking down the street handing out flyers to get your business known, I can just drop 10K in Facebook ads that you don't have and just get mass exposure. And even if the ROI is $10,001, I'm still profitable. And now I've acquired all these eyeballs and you've acquired like 8 from walking down the street. So they're the main things. And I really want to talk about, I do have other topics, and that was a massive one. I didn't want to give all that away before I got through the little updates, but I guess I got some small updates before we get into the OnlyFans content. I think the biggest leveraged opportunity you could have for any business, and remember, whether that's an OnlyFans business as a manager or a creator, whether that's e-commerce, whatever it is, your biggest ability to leverage at the moment is with media. If you're a new person, it's with media. It's what I'm doing right now. The ability to leverage people, okay, will always be there. We're always going to be able to leverage people, because if someone come to me and said, even though my lifestyle, I wouldn't trade it personally, but if someone said to me, look, I'll give you 10 million a year to come work for me and do this opportunity, they could leverage me, okay, because it's more money than I make. If they want to say, look, I'm going to give you 8 figures instead of 7 figures, I'm going to give you 8 figures to come do this, they can leverage me. So no matter where you are, there'll always be people above you who can leverage you to a certain extent. And it will never disappear, leveraging people. But the biggest opportunity that you have right now, I feel, are in 2 aspects. And there is one that I highly have accelerated at. Because remember, I started broke. So I didn't start with capital. I leveraged my work ethic, and I had to put in a lot of work, okay, for a very small amount of output for a long period of time. I had to put in a lot of work for a very little amount of output. And then as I built up capital, little bits, okay, I started to acquire more capital. Then I risked that capital, okay, to start to leverage my input. So I had to put in a little bit less time in that, and I could focus on a different opportunity vehicle. And it built more and built more and built more and crashed and built more and crashed, had all these ups and downs. But eventually it got to the point where I acquired a massive amount of capital, and then I started to leverage other shit. The thing that I've always been good at, though, is software. So I started to learn different software early, and I realized, there's no point holding on to certain software that was outdated. And I always learned the newest software, and I always understood the value of software because it's a unit, it's a person that can work 24/7. Software is essentially a digital person. It's a digital person who can perform 1,000 acts. Like a website, for example, works as my salesperson. It works as my follow-up guy, the person who follows up and closes sales. It works as the POS person, the person who handles the actual physical cash handling. It works as the onboarding person that goes ahead and onboards someone into whatever it is that you're selling. It works as so many different people for a one thing. And so I feel the biggest thing that you can leverage right now starting out is software and media, okay? Always get the best software you can. And that's why I've told so many people, like, even if you look at the start of this year when I built up the Hive, okay, I made the decision to switch from Teachable to Kajabi because of the fact that the software was more powerful. Now, in the interim, I knew I was going to lose a massive amount of my reoccurring subscriber base, even though I'd put in all this time building it up. Why? Because some people are just not going to answer their emails. Some people are going to decide, now it's an extra point of friction. I can't be fucked resubscribing, da-da-da-da. And you lose a certain amount of people. Some people are going to take fucking months to transfer, da-da-da-da-da. But software always proves to be correct. As I said, like switching to Kajabi, 1000x choice, because it had an integrated email service that provided clearer data, provided churn rates, provided forecasting, provided all these detailed analytics. Software will always beat people, essentially. It's just smarter. So you can leverage software and media right now. And media, like I said, the best opportunity for any business right now is to leverage media. You should be putting out YouTube videos. You should be putting out content. And that ties to my last point, which I was talking about, which is like, I think the future of growing online is to start putting out podcasts. You need to be putting out a podcast today. I've hammered this for the entire 9 months. I think maybe 1 or 2 of you have really taken it up, but you've produced maybe 6 or 7 podcasts at most. I've produced 135. And people like to tell me that they work hard. People like to tell me that they put in the time. A lot of you people, that have joined the Hive, you now work full-time from home. I've gifted that to you. I've taught you and shown you how to do it. You now work full-time from home, but you haven't put in the time to launch the podcast because it wasn't immediate ROI. It wasn't instant gratification. If you leverage the opportunity, like I said, you've put out 6, I've put out 135, you would start to see the returns that I see. And YouTube is the most powerful piece of software, and this is the most powerful form of media, I feel. There's no other form of media that's as powerful as YouTube and long-form content at the moment. So I just want to show you, in the 9 months that I've done this now, I went from gaining 20 subscribers a month to 20 plus subscribers a day. In 9 months from now, I'll go from 20 subscribers a day to probably 20 subscribers a fucking hour. Bigger, bigger, bigger. Okay, now let's get into the fucking other stuff because I need to put my Invisalign in. It's been out longer than I've probably ever left it out. And I'm drinking coffee, so I need to take a shit. Before we get into it, hit subscribe. And if I've been mentioning the Hive, you don't know what it is, it's all of my training for YouTube. It's my training for Instagram, Onlyfans, e-commerce, Facebook Marketplace automation, the whole lot in one place. And then you get plugged into a Discord server, okay, in the private Facebook group. We're over 500 members now. People making 6 and 7 figures a year in there. You have instant access to all of them. You can connect with everyone, okay, you can start chatting. And as time goes on and the future evolves and maybe OnlyFans isn't around in 10 years, it doesn't matter, okay? We're just going to continue to adapt and make money, and everyone who's in the Hive is just going to be taught the newest ways, the newest stratagems. Plus, by learning these principles and these frameworks that I've learned, you're going to make more money in the meantime. So why the fuck would you be in there? Who would know? Okay, how to start an OnlyFans agency. There's 1, 2, 3, I've written down 8 main things, and essentially I'm going to abbreviate them because all of these are shown inside the Hive, but I'm going to give you 8 things that you need to write down before starting, and then what you need to do is, if you don't want to join the Hive for whatever dumb fuck reason, you can go ahead and then you can work on each of these principles, okay? So the first thing you need is a business plan, and a lot of people are like, oh, a business plan. Other businesses, right? I didn't have a business plan, and I don't think I really needed one because I was poor and my intention was just to make money. I just needed money. So when I started dropshipping, I was testing everything. Dropshipping, da-da-da-da-da. I just wanted to make money. I didn't need to know that I need a business plan for exiting and scaling companies because I was inexperienced. And you might be saying, oh, but that's me right now. Here's the difference. I'm giving you the shortcut. I'm giving you the roadmap to save me all those years of time that I spent fucking around. Pick one thing, okay, that you're going to stick with for 10 years. And if you're here looking at how to start an OnlyFans agency, I hope it's OnlyFans or online pimping or online nude content managing, whatever you're comfortable calling it, okay, or as a creator selling content. Pick that one thing, stick with it for 10 years. If you're going to do that, you're going to be successful. I guarantee you're going to be successful. We may as well have a business plan. It's going to, if you know you can stick with it for 10 years, it's going to be a banger. Also, that's been a great course so far. I've got some Udemy courses that I've got sitting there, but I'm going over some heavy cybersecurity stuff. So get a business plan. And what do I mean by business plan? You want to look it up and really define what a business plan is, break down unit economics of how much money you're trying to earn. I talk about this in other videos, but more importantly, have an exit strategy. What is your goal? Is your goal to make a certain amount of money so you can buy a house? Is it a certain amount of money so you can invest? A lot of people say, I'm going to build my business so it makes me enough money that I can invest and then live free and travel the world. And when I break it down, they don't know what the fuck they're going to do. I say, how much money is that? Oh, I guess a few million. How many million? I guess this much. Well, what would you invest in? Stocks? What stocks? I don't know. Do you know how much they return each year? Where are you going to invest? Like, you haven't thought out your plan. How do you hope to succeed if your plan is a never-ending plan? And trust me, chasing money is just, you can never catch it all. So you're just constantly chasing a tail. You need an exit strategy. You need a plan. Is it to make a certain amount of money? And don't be intimidated. You'll look at your plan and be like, fuck, that's really hard. That's a lot of money. But that sets you 10 steps ahead of people who don't have a plan. If you know how much money you're trying to make each year, maybe your plan is to set up a cash flow business that produces, 7 figures a year, $1 million a year, and you're going to take 20% of that and you're going to invest, you're going to take 20% of that and live off it, and you're going to invest 80%. You're going to invest 70% into, stocks, and to find out what stocks to invest in, you're going to take a mini course. And so you've got that there, and then you're going to be comfortable by the end of that. See how much more detailed your plan's becoming. And then you're going to take the other 10%, you're going to be more high risk with it. And you're going to invest in crypto, and you've got a course there for crypto. And your goal is to let the passive income from your stocks build up to the point where it supports your lifestyle. Plus, you want to make an additional $600,000 on top so that you can go ahead and purchase a home that you can live in that's fully paid outright. In case everything goes wrong, you have a home. Pretty good plan, hey? Now you can break down all the unit economics of how much you need to earn each year, and it's going to make your plan a lot more viable. So get a business plan, get an exit strategy. The next thing in an OnlyFans business you need, if you're a manager, is contracts. You need contracts with girls, okay? You need contracts with people, not because of the fact that you're going to enforce them legally if they decide they don't want to work with you. It simply is a reference point that you can both refer back to and say, hey, look, we're both happy when we sign this. Has something changed? Do we need to have another chat? Okay, a contract, something on paper, something that shows this is what we're agreeing on as a reference point in history in case anything changes. Maybe they say, I'm unhappy with you taking 50% now that we're earning $30,000 a month. And you say, yeah, I understand that, but look here, when you signed this 2 months ago when you were earning nothing, okay, you're unhappy that we're making $15,000 a month off your account, okay? Remember, 2 months ago you were happy to sign this because you were making nothing, okay? Is there something, what is it that you're unhappy with? Or do you think maybe it's a little bit of greed kicking in? Because 2 months ago you were happy to sign this, and now, okay, you want to change now that there's money coming in, because when money comes in, people change. Third thing you need is an onboarding process as an agency. You need an onboarding process for hiring ladies, okay? Setting up their accounts, integrating them, getting your teams to handle them or you to handle them. You need an onboarding process. And if you don't have anyone working for you right now, that's fine. Write down what if you were to hire me right now and I said, okay, I want to come work for you right now. What do we do next? You better be able to fucking tell me what we're doing next, step by step by step. You need a good onboarding process. And you need an onboarding process for constantly taking on new ladies, okay? So you need an ad that's out there that sends them to a landing page, that sends them to a call or an email funnel or something that filters them, or a Google Sheets or whatever it is, okay? Or Google Docs or Google Quiz. You need an onboarding process. The fourth thing you need is a value proposition, which in your business is, why would I work with you and not someone else? What's your UVP, your unique value proposition? Tell me who you are, why you're better than your competitors, and why I should work with you in 2 sentences or less. Figure that out. The next thing, the fifth thing, is how to market. What ways can I market these ladies' accounts to grow? Or ladies, what way can I market myself to grow my account? Is it the Tinder method that the big fucking Don Dipper here teaches? Is it, TikTok ads? Is it Google display ads? Whatever it is, okay? Is it maybe you're a traffic junkie nerd? Whatever it is, what are the ways in which that I'm going to market? The next is outsourcing and teams, so understanding leveraging people to handle certain tasks. The seventh thing is the ability to track data, okay? You need to track all your data somewhere, whether it's Google Sheets, which I highly recommend, no affiliation, but it's a great place. Everything that's stored online, you get it's remote backup. You can track activity logs. You can share it with people instantaneous. You can download it so it's both saved online and offline. You need the ability to track data somewhere, because the more data you can input, it gives you not only, it doesn't just help your accounting and help to show things, it helps to predict a certain future. If you can look and see a growth month after month, it's also going to help stop you from quitting in a business. If you can see, hey, look, we did this much this month and we're going up a little bit and up a little bit and up a little bit and up a little bit, even if it's only by 3% each month, you stop being so short-term minded and you say, it's only 3% a month, but a year from now, that's a 36% increase. Okay? And then next year, after that, it'll be a 36 on top of that. So it gives you a more long-term perspective. And if this month are profitable and this month isn't, okay, and you look at your data and say, why were all the others profitable and this wasn't, you can look at what you've changed in the method. And then the last thing you need is the know-how to scale, okay, the ability to scale so that you can hit your objectives. That is all. I hope you've enjoyed. If you want to learn how to do all those things step by step, easy A to Z, join the fucking hive mind. I need to go put my Invisalign back in. And I've got more videos to film. Then I'm going to head out, see my sister. Look at how fucking gorgeous I am. Also, this rash is clearing up now. Like, I started to use my mind to just willpower it out. If you don't know, I've got like some serious staph infection. But look at this. It's like, it doesn't even look that bad there. But you can still see her there, eh? She's not great. Look, under there too. It was full before though. It was all there. All down my leg. My leg's still got a chunk on it, and that's it. Like, it was on my arms and shit before. It's gone now, but I think I'm immortal. So I'll see you all in tomorrow's podcast 136. Hit subscribe, join the hive. Pucker.